Hello, everybody. My name is Puppetine from I Love Puppets, here on I Love Puppets today with a full house indeed, to discuss episode 2 of Loki. I know we're a few days late. We didn't go live right as it came out like last week, but this works better for everybody, and we got everyone here. We have below me, joining us from early this morning for the Bad Batch, 1 out of 5, Zach's. Say hello, Zach.
What's up? The other 4 Zachs wanted me to say hello. They're all off doing various things. I think one's drowning in the rainstorm outside. But
Isn't that the
yeah,
point of clones?
that's the point, exactly. But yeah, happy to be here. Had a good time on Bad Batch early this morning. Y'all should go check it out. Little plug right there. But yeah, here to talk about some Loki.
Oh, yeah. And not being low-key about it. Also not being low-key in a top hat right in this corner right here. We have Dalton, the Authenticator. Hello, Dalton.
Evening.
And right beside me, we have that loyal amphibian who sits in the dark waiting to hop out and scare us all, Froggy!
Yeah. Did you see some guy drawing out there? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's just a Zach. No need to be
okay.
concerned about it.
All right, yeah. Then I totally murdered him. But it's okay. I mean, I didn't. That was the guy down below me.
You didn't rip his hand off, did you?
I think you're far more likely, Froggy. But that's okay. You know what? If it's all according to the sacred timeline.
Yeah, it was for the greater good. I had to kill him.
I'm going to get right into a recap before we start telling about our thoughts and favorite moments of the episode, and if there's any problems we have with it. I just want to go ahead and get to some comments because there have been people already sitting in there. They're hyped. They've been ready. So we're going to go ahead and hear them out. Let me just see. To the top, we have a Maranya. Hello, Maranya. Here's hoping you that you two, well, there's 4 of us, can explain episode 2 to me because I watched it twice and I still can't make heads or tails out of it.
Excuse me. Here's hopping. That's not.
That's it, frog.
I did not consent.
Now you know what it's like.
Being next to you, yeah, it's annoying. You got one below me too.
Why do you never piss off a puppet master on a stream with actual puppets on it, ladies and gentlemen?
You are the master of nowhere.
But we now. No fighting, Froggy. No fighting, Dalton. We are civil here. I will separate you. I will turn this stream around.
Then would the viewers be looking at the back of our heads if you turn the stream around?
Or would that qualify as crossing the streams? But
no. We've gone too far. He's already backwards.
That would explain why the TVA is gunning for us. So that does fill in those gaps there.
Of course they're coming for us. We should have been streaming this on a Wednesday.
What's going on? The stream's turned around.
This way, Froggy. Your arms are bending backwards.
We had a point. I swear to God, we had a point.
Oh God, no!
So anyway, Loki.
Yeah, well, yes, we got to get into more comments. Yeah. I'm sorry, it is a full thing. We got distracted just by just some tips. LK, short answer to Maranya. Lady Loki / Enchantress just created the multiverse by launching all those reset bombs. Oh wow, you're explaining everything for me. We'll get to that in a moment. Maranya says that's the part she got. Besides creating chaos, I don't know what her goal is, unless it's to create a universe where Asgard survives. I'm not sure. LK says beyond that, who knows? It was mostly to do cheap jokes at Loki's expense and explain how multiverses work. And who's the Green Mitt? I think LK is talking to you, Froggy.
Am I supposed to listen? I was busy playing golf.
That's typically what you're supposed to do when you're on a live stream.
That's the live part, Froggy.
Why are they alive? Where's the dead streams?
Well, the dead stream.
Give it 5
well,
minutes and
You're
keep
not supposed
pushing
to
my
cross
buttons,
them.
and we'll see one.
Well, if you want to talk about our dead streams, well, we have some early Walking Dead streams early on this channel. Those were dead streams. But that's besides the point. Let's get into the real recap. LK does give a little bit of spoilers at the end. They are trying to chase down this variant Loki, which was explained in episode 1. Loki tries to worm his way out of the TVA quickly, and it's kind of sloppy, but we have to remember this was Avengers 1 Loki, who wasn't his shiniest. I think as much as people don't like Thor 2, that is where Loki truly gets a chance.
Character development. Yeah, agreed.
Well, I'm glad people agree. But getting to it, going from there, we learn a little more about the TVA. I really do like what's her name, Tara Strong as Miss Time or whatever they called
Who
her.
it was. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know who she was. She sounded kind of familiar, but I wasn't sure who she was.
But aside from that, it gets to a point where they are on the variant Loki's tail, because our Loki, the one we're watching, figures out that if you are in a moment before a natural disaster hits, something cataclysmic, like
That has no survivors to affect a future
Mhm.
timeline, then the TVA is essentially blind.
Yeah, so if he hides on one of our streams where it's about to get killed, and then he'll be fine.
well, no, he hides in Alabama.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, I agree.
That's worse.
Alabama is bad to a Louisiana person like me.
And for us.
Well, it seems that it's the end of the world for Alabama in the year 2050.
As we know it, and I feel fine. There.
Well, I'm not sure the people are going to feel fine.
They'll just get down with it or blow away. Who knows?
But we have to get to the point where this all leads to. We are introduced to this variant Loki officially. We hear the voice and eventually see the body, and it looks like it's Lady Loki. But upon further inspection, I never thought it was Lady Loki. The first thing this lady tells Loki is that this isn't about you, and that would just be a silly thing if it was Lady Loki. 2, Loki says he'd never treat himself this way. I do agree with that. And there's no reason why, even if it's a female version of Loki, that she should treat
So
this way.
the other question would be, is this Amora the Enchantress?
And on that, I have my own fan theory, and this is one of the reasons why I have
Go
this
ahead.
fan theory. In Doctor Strange, the Ancient One also says to Doctor Strange that it's not about him either. And I've actually had this theory for pretty much since the 2016 movie came out, that the Ancient One in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Morgan Le Fay, because we know in the comics Merlin was Sorcerer Supreme. We know at one point Morgana switches to good on the Isle of Avalon and heals Arthur's injuries in the mythology. And we know that Morgan Le Fay is rather famous for using dark magic to extend her life. And who do we know in the MCU who does that? Who is also, according to Mordo, Celtic and would have made sense as a successor Sorcerer Supreme to Merlin. That would be the Ancient One. So my standing theory is this isn't an alternate Loki at all. This is an alternate Morgana, aka Ancient One, which makes sense because we're getting Black Knight in Eternals.
Well, you know what? There might be a chance that I'm not going to say that I'm sure about what I'm saying, but I do have a really strong feeling that this is actually the Enchantress. I really do feel
that would make probably more sense and would require less hoop jumping. But
yeah.
If they wanted to actually throw people for a loop that would make sense and also get people thinking,
you just
I
gave
would.
me more.
I would go with she's an alternate Ancient One,
Okay.
aka Morgan Le Fay.
Well, but that is pretty much where it leads, because this lady that we are introduced to walks through a portal and leaves it open, a time window. And that's when Mobius and company are catching up. And they think Loki is actually the one responsible, our Loki, of course. But he's not. It's actually makes me feel a little bad for him, because Loki is truly not really doing anything wrong here. He was led into this situation, and it looks like he's the one behind it. And we know what they do to variants that they can't reason with.
Yeah, they throw them into the gulag, right?
No, they turned them into prunes.
Yeah, they neuralize them essentially and turn them into drones.
But the last we see of this episode is Loki running through that time window. I think he realized he had to follow. It was his only shot of getting into a position in which
I feel bad for Mobius now, because Renslayer said that it was his last chance to make something out of this Loki variant. Yep. And the Loki rather predictably bollocks that up, but good.
Well, that's not Loki's fault. It was the other lady Loki.
I hope at the very least there's a resolution whereby, as you know, Mobius is getting ready to be neuralized, Loki will show back up and be like, "Oh, you thought I ditched you? Well, I was on the job the whole time, and also I solved the entire thing while I was away."
The other thing is that Loki realizes if he helps them catch her on this, he's going to be destroyed. Regardless. Yeah. You can't trust them, because look at how everything has to be perfect. So what reason would they keep him around?
Yeah, that's fair. Before we get into any more discussion, I really want to get back into these comments. This is a very lively comment section that we have on this stream tonight.
That is Friday night. That's why.
Friday night. It's the night for streams, really. LK, did anyone find it anti-religion?
I did. If LK is talking about, there's that little conversation where Loki and Morbius are like free will versus predestination type, that type of conversation. I can kind of see it, but like even I didn't really see it as anti-religion, because I've had conversations like that with lots of people.
The MCU has been weird in regards to where the line is at between magic, religion, science, all philosophy, all that shenanigans for a while.
Magic. Okay, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. Magic is. I mean, they've said. I think it was in Doctor Strange. Magic is just science. They don't.
No, that was Thor.
Thor said that.
Here's the thing about the Thor explanation. The thing you got to keep in mind about Thor is Thor doesn't know anything about either of them, and that's and this is going to be a little bit of a side tangent, but that is exactly why I hate Clark's Law. Because as somebody who, before he got into magic, was a big student of theoretical physics, I can tell you the only way you could possibly believe Clark's Law is if you knew nothing not only about magic but also about science.
Well, I don't think
they only look similar from an outside perspective of someone like Thor, who is essentially the god of dude bros, who knows nothing about either.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it was so much Thor's characters, like Thor speaking from his character and his knowledge. I think that was more like just an explanation for the audience.
I think it was. We'll put this pin here to not piss off China, because China hates anything spiritual related, and we'll work it out later when we get into Doctor Strange and stuff. Which in their defense, they did fix a lot of the problem with the Thor explanation in Doctor Strange.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, that is true. Now, okay, let's all take a breath. We have more comments to read, and I think Froggy has croaked a couple times, so he needs to revive himself. Morani says, I have to admit, Loki was the only best part of Thor 2. There we have it. We have another agreement there.
I think that's the only good part of Thor 2. But, yeah.
I don't know if LK is saying it about this episode or maybe Thor 2. It's also sloppy because you have a director with little experience and a credited story writer with her first writing credit.
I think he's talking about the show. I think it's the show he's referring to.
I don't know. Okay. Side note, we'll get more into more comments. I am just going to say right now, I really did enjoy this episode. I am also going to say I think this is going to be the weakest episode of the series. I really enjoyed it, but it didn't feel like its strongest. It had a lot of fun elements.
I want to say I think you guys are a bunch of nerds, and either you like it or you don't like it. Quit analyzing it too much. Just enjoy it for what it is. Otherwise, we're going to
trying to get us out of a career, Froggy.
I'm just going to say that what's going to happen is if you guys complain about every little thing, they're going to give us a Captain. They're going to give us a Captain Marvel show if you get too negative.
I'm not getting negative, Froggy. I just said that I think this will be the weakest episode, but it was a really great episode. You're calling it weak.
Don't criticize the show because then they'll punish us.
Froggy, we can't just be praised all the time. I know you like to.
We unlike some other reviewers on the platform, cough cough.
You know what happens?
We don't get paid to give positive reviews. Therefore, we actually give accurate reviews.
He has the opposite of Engeltine. When he complains about a show, they make it worse.
Yeah, because he's Paula Abdul. Is the thing. and this is an established dynamic. Rob is the Simon Cowell. I am whoever usually sits in the middle, and Anglantine is always Paul
You're
Abdul.
Not Randy Jackson. You're not Randy Jackson on
relative to our like intensity of review is what that joke is about.
Wait. Paul Abdul now.
Wait. Does that make me Ryan Seacrest then? I want out of this gig.
I think that's exactly why he is the Ryan Seacrest of the quartet there. That's don't you love it when a plan comes together?
Why does he not want to be Ryan Seacrest? He's one of the most successful out of all of us.
He really is. Like,
shh.
I think it's the most fun to be Simon, but nobody wants to be as cynical as Rob is most of the time.
All right. Okay, getting back to comments now. Zach's doggo wants to run from this episode recap.
He actually came back.
There we go. He just had to go grab his snack.
He had to go, I guess, see what the noise was.
Did you see that? He has legs.
I'm not a puppet, confirmed.
But then again, at least that makes one of us. LK says credits already gave it away.
Do we use our swear word for the evening? I want to call dibs on it when I feel properly to use it.
Okay. You have dibs on one swear word. You're not allowed to say the F word. That goes for everybody on the panel, please.
Son of a.
You don't want to use the curse word yet, Froggy. You're going to save it for your review.
He almost wasted it.
I know. He was so close.
I can't work with you people if you don't let me use the one word I want to use.
Go back to Romania, you ignorant green frog.
He's not a Romanian frog. He's an Austrian frog.
Yeah, you racist prick.
I'm sorry, I gave you too much credit.
Hi, Georgia Peach.
I assumed you were coming from the interesting side of the Danube.
Hi. Let's see. There's been a lot. I haven't been able to keep track. Maranya saying it is a very Loki style maneuver to set up circumstantial evidence to make someone else look bad. I do agree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't feel like.
Because I feel like if this is the Enchantress, maybe she knows Loki from her universe, and that's why she's like, it's not all about you, arrogant self-righteous dick.
Yeah, also, I think that if they were implying a lady Loki, they would have gotten someone with darker hair.
Yeah, we would have got.
I don't think they would have been that irresponsible.
They would have got Katie McGrath because she's hot.
Honestly, they probably could have just brought back Kate Blanchett for a minute, and it would have been fine.
No.
Okay. We have to talk about this because it's been a meme since Thor Ragnarok. Out of all of Odin's children, is it really Loki that's the adopted one?
Yeah, because you had Hela with the dark hair, and then Loki with the dark hair, and they're both like emo goth goth kids, and then
And
you got
green.
Thor, who is the beach bro jock who can't tell the difference between magic and science to save his life, apparently.
I just want to know, who did Odin bang to get 2 black-haired children?
That's what I'm saying. Frigga is not the first wife. There was somebody before Frigga.
You are not the mother.
There was somebody before Frigga. But
Oh, thank God they're not gingers. Otherwise, we'd have the Phoenix Force.
Okay, there's a lot of to this, so I'm going to clear my throat, take a breath, and read. There was that, but also Mobius's complete dismissal of the other gods. But then he fully believes in the Time Masters, and he just recited what happens when the Masters unravel the timeline. I feel like, of course, he's going to dismiss other gods. He works for the most powerful force in the universe. The TVA is
and here's the other thing about that. And I hate that I have this theory, but knowing what I know about the way the MCU likes to oversimplify things, I don't think they're just going to introduce the timekeepers and just have them be the timekeepers. I think it's going to be one of those situations where the timekeepers are also going to be somebody else who's going to come back into play later. And I have 2 possible theories as to who the timekeepers actually are.
It's Kang.
One of them is probably going to be, they're probably going to be either taken out by Kang or they're going to have been captured by Kang. But I do think the timekeepers actually exist, and here's why. Theory number 1. The timekeepers, the 3 of them, are the Living Tribunal, because the Living Tribunal is a being with 3 faces who also oversees the balance of the multiverse. And we've already seen in the MCU how the Sorcerer Supreme is interconnected with time in the same way that he's interconnected with the Living Tribunal in the comics, so that makes sense. Or, alternatively, and this might just be me wishful thinking, but what if the timekeepers are the Vishanti? Which makes sense because, like we said, in the MCU, as stupid as it is, the Sorcerer Supreme is the keeper of the Time Stone, which means that somebody had to be strong enough to wield the Time Stone at some point to put it in the eye of Agamotto in the first place. And we already know Agamotto did that, so it makes sense for the other 2, given that there's three time-controlling beings who apparently are strong enough to create a null magic field powerful enough to affect the Infinity Stones, mind you.
Yes.
So Vishanti would be my guess.
I am going to just say that the Infinity Stones, they're nothing now. We have to remember our current place in the MCU. Infinity Stones? Well, what are they? They're gone. Reduced to atoms, according to Thanos.
To borrow a meme from Jackie Chan Adventures, Infinity Stones are not important.
thank God. I was getting tired of those MacGuffins.
I'm going to get back to the comments. Georgia Peach says, poor frog emoji. I think that's you.
In the arms
Are you okay?
of the
Are you okay, Froggy?
angel, fly away.
What?
he looks like the ASPCA commercial where he zooms in on the sad animal.
In the arms of an angel.
Sing better than I do. I'll give you that.
Well, it's just the tone. It really helps. LK says, I think he means Hiddleston is the show, period. When he's not on screen, it's a sci-fi level show, both in acting and look. Are you insulting sci-fi television? You can insult a sci-fi movie all day long, but when it comes to television on the Sci-Fi Channel, they make some really good.
They've improved a lot in recent years. Yes.
Didn't they
Another
do
thing
Warehouse
that
13?
yeah, another thing that LK said that I want to address in the comments. He said that the timekeepers are almost guaranteed to be nefarious or malevolent, and this is where I think Kang is going to come in, because I think that either he took over the TVA from under their noses, he and Renslayer, who is his girlfriend in the comics, and that's going to be what's responsible for the corruption within the TVA, or they're locked away somewhere. I don't think that the timekeepers, who I still think the best case would be them being the Vishanti, because 3 beings that control time in this universe makes sense. Also powerful enough to null magic. So, yeah.
Okay.
I get one thing to say. Time. What is it good for? Nothing at all.
Well, we do. Speaking of time, we do need to move right along.
Yeah,
see
hop
some
to
more of
it.
these comments. Eric Breen says that the puppets on the bottom row are almost lifelike. Yes, that is the quality
Well,
that we have here on I Love Puppets.
Well, did you realize that we're not puppets? They are.
Yeah, somebody got Jim Henson back from the grave to do our puppets, and there's.
Oh, come with the dog.
I have no strings to hold me down.
To make me fret, to make me frown. All I have is this wood rod.
I
which
got
we
no
don't,
toilet,
we
but
don't,
I got
we don't
no.
address it. It's very awkward to have a giant splinter in the bottom of your hand that controls it.
Oh,
But
I thought you got a giant rat in your hand. This is a stick.
But getting back to what I was saying, I think at the end of Loki, they're going to free the original timekeepers, and the original timekeepers are going to be like, "What in all the heck are you doing while we were away?"
well, maybe.
Maybe.
Maranya says Asgard doesn't have shampoo, but it does have hair dye. Loki and Hela are not naturally dark-haired. Mystery solved. Maybe. And Georgia Peach is advising that we don't look up the Norse versions of Loki.
No, don't. Whatever
Yeah,
you do not
I'm
look it up.
honestly amazed they haven't referenced the time that Loki got Thor to wear a dress because he lost his hammer.
I'm not surprised.
That is literally a story from the mythos, and I'm waiting for Loki to be with Thor again, just so he can make that joke. Hey, remember that time I got you to wear the dress because you lost your hammer to the one frost giant dude?
What was I looking at? I'm sorry, I'm a little phased right now. I was out doing puppet things all day.
Well,
Yeah,
Georgia.
you're looking up LK's comments.
okay here, yeah.
Here, let me open my trunk drawer and get you an Infinity Stone, Dalton. That's a fair point. And, a lot of people have complained about this, and I do want to address this. So I'm going to clear my throat once more. A lot of people are complaining that the entire MCU doesn't matter because the TVA has come in and, they're able to throw Infinity Stones and make a joke of them. Those people aren't realizing we're dealing with a whole other power level here.
Yeah, and
So-
we're talking about a place in the multiverse where the Infinity Stone's power is nulled. So they are essentially glorified paperweights as long as they're in that null
Froggy,
space.
let
Yeah,
Froggy
right.
say something.
So LK wants to open up his drawer and show you stones.
Oh. I take it back. Froggy, don't speak. Dalton, go on.
This is how we get pulled from to reference another Archer meme. Do you want to get pulled from YouTube? This is how we get pulled from YouTube.
Hey, he's the one that said it. I just relayed it.
Oh, goodness.
Maranya says the way that the show refers to the timekeepers as maintaining the sacred timeline, as they call it, it felt to me like an insult to the longtime comic book fans who don't like shenanigans of current Marvel. I don't know about that. I think
I think it could be reversible. I mean, it could go either way.
Yeah, I
If you-
think,
if you're
like
looking
I
at it
said,
that
I
way.
think that the most likely scenario is they defeat or make Kang screw off into Ant-Man Quantum Mania, or he escapes into the quantum realm somehow at the end of Loki, and then they find a way to release the real timekeepers, who I still maintain are probably going to be revealed to be the Vishanti, because we know this ties into Doctor Strange somehow. And the timekeeper / Vishanti are going to be like, what the heck did he do to our precious TVA while we were away? And then they're probably going to call up Strange and be like, you do your job.
Or the time Loki gave birth to. We don't talk about that
No.
here.
Wait.
This is a family-friendly program, Jordan.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. He gave birth to Beta Ray Bill?
Oh,
No, he gave birth to your Commander Sleipnir and Hell
Poor
in
Beta Ray
the
Bill.
original mythology.
LK is saying that he thinks it's more of an insult to religion as anything. Again, these writers don't know or care about the comics. I don't know. I haven't looked at anything about them.
I think it's more about the philosophy of free will versus determinism more than it is about bashing religion. I don't think there's any.
Yeah.
I mean, the main character is a god, so it's not like they can just lampshade religion to hell. Now, granted, again, the structure of where the boundaries are between magic, religion, and science in the Marvel universe is kind of screwy ever since Thor, but, what little structure there is and what little structure they put in place later, like in Doctor Strange and so on, makes sense, so I'm going to leave it there.
All right. I think we're going. I'm going to take another breath. Dramatic, I know. But I think we're going to go around the room and say what we thought about this episode of Loki. Now that we have all the information, we have people in the comments thoughts. It's time for our thoughts. And to start us off, how about we go to that loyal co-host, Froggy? Go ahead. Let us know what you think about this episode of Loki, Froggy.
I gotta say though, the whole inside the basically the Roxy Mart, whatever, I got the whole kind of Fallen vibes. Time, he's on my side. As it kept passing from person to person.
Yes, it is.
As soon as they touched the other person, they went through. I was like, I don't know if they meant to make like a homage to that movie, or they just ran out of ideas and stole it like everyone else does.
I don't think it's really that. But
I gotta give it to that guy though. He was really committed. He was a hurricane sale. He's buying plants. I'm thinking like that could have been really bad. He's just saying he's looting a place and he's black. That could have been really bad.
Yep. Okay. Well, I don't disagree with you. You make a point.
Yeah. Marvel is secretly racist.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier already went there. They've already opened that whole can of worms. Let's not retread that ground.
Next, we will go to the person below me, my Bad Batch co-host, the one out of the 5 Zachs. Zach.
Yes. I'm going to say LK already kind of touched on it. Tom Hiddleston really does make the show.
Yeah.
Besides the last few minutes that take place in the Roxxon Mart, the part that stands out to me is when he's going through the files and he looks up Asgard, the future. Because remember, this is not the Loki that we see throughout the MCU. This is Avengers 1 Loki. So when he finds out that Asgard gets blown up, and you can see like the emotion kind of in his face as he's still working through and processing, it's really a powerful moment. And then I also thought it was really fun. I explained it to my brother. It's almost like a cross between The Office and Doctor Who, when they when he's like, "Hey, let's go visit." What's the name of the Roman city? Pompeii. Let's go to Pompeii. You're all doomed. Be free, my horned friend goats. It's like that was really funny. That I really enjoyed that scene a lot.
Me too.
But yeah, Hiddleston and Wilson too. They have a really great chemistry.
The only thing that kind of really irritates me, we only seen him use magic once.
Well, he is in the TVA. Yeah, he is in the they're in the TVA for
magic.
90%.
And funnily enough, there is a Doctor Strange spell in the comics called the Sands of the Nishanti that does nullify like magic in a given area. So once again, to kind of chalk up to the Timekeepers or the Vishanti theory, that would make sense.
Okay, well, actually, since you were answering, I think that means it's time to go to the top hat man himself, Dalton the Authenticator. What did you think of specifically this episode of Loki?
It looks more like a bottom hat because he's on the bottom.
Also, you forgot the bow tie. Never forget the bow tie. But that's
well, you were covering it with your face.
Yeah,
but no.
Thank you for hiding it.
But Frog, you are going to make me commit frog genocide. But that's a different story for a different day. As far as this episode goes, if Zach hadn't touched on it, I was going to. As much as I love seeing Tom Hiddleston play Loki, and I do, Alan Cummings in Son of the Mask is still a better Loki in my opinion, but that's heresy, and I know. But I like seeing Morbius and Loki play off with each other because it always seems like whenever Loki does Loki things in the MCU, everyone is either afraid of him or annoyed with him, and Owen Wilson is the only one that actually engages with him on the intellectual level of the game playing and the puzzle mastering and the puppet mastering kind of thing. And I like seeing that. It's what I wish would have happened in Thor Ragnarok when he was sparring with Strange. I wish there had been more banter between them, but I was falling for 30 minutes is fine too. It annoys me that this ended on a cliffhanger. I know it's setting up for the next episode, but I just hate when episodes do that. Resolve the stories you're trying to tell before you leap into the next one you're trying to tell. Please, for the love of God.
To that, I do have to add a comment. This is a 6-episode series or season because I believe it's already slated for a season 2.
Wait, they're doing a season 2 of this?
I'm pretty sure I've read that. I've read that.
Never, as far as I know, they all of the series are like one-offs. As far as
WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, yes, but I believe Loki was already confirmed for a season 2.
Okay, well, in that case, then that's cool and everything, but which means that Loki will probably stay on as a member of the TVA at the end. But that's great. Also, Marvel, while I'm giving you ideas, give me a WandaVision season 2 in the form of an Agatha Harkness show and call it Agatha All Along.
Apparently, there is a season 2 in development, second season
of WandaVision. No,
of Loki. But that's Wikipedia. That's Wikipedia, man.
Well, no, I saw it in articles. That's the only reason I said it, and it wasn't in crappy little sites. It was in a fairly large one. That was the only reason.
So we're getting a Loki season 2, and that's fine. But irregardless, I wish they would end as much as I enjoy serialized storytelling. I also appreciate stories where things are actually wrapped up in episodes. So it'd be nice if they could strike a better balance in these kind of miniseries. I
think we're going to have to kind of disagree on that front. It did end on a cliffhanger, but we know exactly where we're going. When Zach and I host Bad Batch, one of our major complaints in the early episodes is, where the heck are we going? We really have to know. Because we need to know the direction we're going. Loki going into that time window, we know exactly where it's heading. We don't know the exact location or anything.
And I hope to God the next episode begins with the riff of "Let's do the time warp again."
I don't think
if not, that would be a wasted potential.
Speaking of songs, though, why was Holding Out for a Hero playing?
Thank you. That song has been everywhere this past week. It's I can't get away from it.
Just unnecessary here. It didn't even make sense here.
It's been in movie previews. It's been in video game trailers. And then I turned on Loki the other night, and the opening scene, I'm like,
and the new He-Man continuation or sequel or spin-off or whatever is also used it.
It was
He-Man. That one used it really effectively, I think. So.
Yeah, He-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the video game, and now Loki. Everyone's cashing in on Holding Out for a Hero.
Because they're all connected.
I don't think
if Loki ends up going to Eternia, I will take back every negative thing I've said about this show.
Is Shrek 2 connected too? Because that was the song. That was the movie
Fairy
that
Godmother solo. Yeah.
Actually, no. What's connected to this is Footloose. Kevin Bacon's coming back. He's gonna be in Doctor Strange.
Well, I mean, they've already referenced Kevin Bacon and Footloose about 50 times in the MCU.
There's going to be a dance-up between him and Star-Lord.
Please give me that in 3. James Gunn, if you're watching this, give me Kevin Bacon and Star-Lord dancing
Where
off.
have all the good men gone, and where are all the... I just figured it out. It's because it contains the line, "Where are all the gods?"
I thought about that too.
That's why they used it.
Oh, clever.
It's still loose to me.
Well, it's also about,
Is it Footloose?
where's the White Knight, and Loki, of course, being the stereotypical mischievous black hat type. It's irony and juxtaposition, I think, is what they were going for.
I'm going
Because
to
Loki is very much not a hero, and they were kind of riffing off of that, maybe.
I am going to address it here in Marani's comment. They obsess of keeping the timeline pure, which again is a smack at comic book fans who don't want their characters warped. Iceman. I really don't think that's the case. I don't think that's.
But I understand what might think that, and maybe it is true, but maybe it's not. There's really confirmation.
I understand why you would think that, and I understand why a very cynical, very pessimistic writer might pull that nonsense. But until we actually get some kind of confirmation that this whole thing was leading up to, yay, timeline doesn't matter, derp, I'm not gonna be that cynical. I'm giving it its chance, because not only because I just prefer not to be cynical, but also because this is setting up for Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man 3, Ant-Man 3, Moon Knight, Blade, and all of those. So
The only thing
hopefully
it's
this
not setting
goes
up Black
in a
Widow.
constructive direction.
Oh man, this is getting violent in the comment section.
Yes. So LK says that I will mention something from that Wes from Thinking Critical said. It seems they thought this was going to be a comedy that was supposed to be that we are supposed to be laughing all the time, but it's not funny. I disagree. A lot of the moments are humorous.
Yeah, this stream's supposed to be humorous.
There are humorous moments, but I never went into the show thinking it was meant to be like I knew that there were going to be funny moments because it is a Marvel production. There are going to be those joke moments.
Yeah, there's gonna be like jokes at Loki's expense, because that's what they did in the first movie, and they keep doing that with Loki because this can't be Marvel.
The thing with Loki is that's always been Loki's character in the MCU, because he is an overly egotistical screwhead. And
they want kids to laugh. That's why.
Therefore they take, because look. Okay, this is a sidebar, but I have to explain.
Okay, Dalton, take a breath, and now go.
Ahem. Remember in the Avengers when Loki goes up to the crowd of people and goes all kneel, and then Captain America shows up and makes fun of him, and there was the whole thing about there was another guy in Germany who did that once. We disagreed. That is the reason why they have to do this to Loki, because otherwise Loki is essentially General Zod. If you don't piss all over Loki's grandiosity and his sense of entitlement and his "I'm a god, I'm better than all of you," then he is the most narcissistic, egomaniacal dictator in the multiverse. So they have to make him look like a weak puss, because A, he's a non-warrior god from a warrior god culture, and B, if he wasn't constantly being taken down a peg, he would be a megalomaniacal destructor deity. His role would go from being playfully mischievous to "I'm going to rule the entire of existence." That's why they have to shit on it.
Okay.
And that's always been how Loki has been handled in the MCU. So it's not a post-MCU or MCU thing to dump on Loki. It's how you handle Loki, because otherwise he becomes a genocidal maniac.
In other words, he becomes like he is in the comics, evil.
No. In other words, he goes much further than he goes in the comics, and he goes all fucking rampage because there's nothing to stop him from going all rampage. Even Loki in the comics is actually less megalomaniacal than Loki in the MCU, because Loki in the MCU actually takes himself far more seriously than Loki in the comics does. Loki in the comics, for as much as he's a schemer, is also still a trickster. Loki in the MCU, because of the emotional backstory we've set up for him, whereby he feels unwanted and unloved and always in Thor's shadow, actually does want to rule over everything, and therefore the universe has to take every opportunity it can to beat him the fuck down, because otherwise he would have.
Hey! You use my word.
You use the word, Dolphin. Dolphin, you can't use that word.
He already used it
one
once.
word.
Y'all missed it. He used it twice.
Yeah, but in any case, if the universe if we didn't have the Hulk puny god moment, we would have had a situation where Loki would have turned on Thanos, put his staff through Thanos' chest, and then Loki would have been the big bad of the whole thing. And that's why you have to beat down Loki a little bit.
I will remember you. Will you remember me?
All right,
No.
all right, Dalton. I'm going to have to do this for Moran. You do have to go in the naughty corner, which is actually the right side corner, which you are already in. But that's besides the point. I actually do agree with you. I do have to say that. Jokes aside, I do agree with what you're saying. I also have to point out this comment: harm the froggy, and I'll send you to the eternal naughty corner.
Is that to the left of the infinite void and to the right of the cornfield, or where are we talking here?
I don't want to know
Marani's
eternal naughty corner. I'm just gonna stay clear of that corner.
I'm gonna assume it's to the left of the cornfield.
Actually, you find it. It's next to Peter Hooden.
No. LK says I only heard the song in the Masters of the Universe trailer and the show. Note that I did not call it the He-Man show. That is a whole nother live stream rant. I'm just going to say, I'm not gonna rant on He-Man. I'm gonna wait until I see it to judge. That's all I'll say on it.
But that's a different story.
It doesn't belong in this stream. I think what we need to do is get back on track and wrap this up. So, episode 2 of Loki, we understand where we're going. So some of us have liked it, and I really want to know where we think we're going from here. So I'm going to give the next few moments.
I have an idea.
Go ahead. I was going to call upon you first. Where do you think we go from here, Froggy?
The next episode. No. They're the guys. They already think that Loki, because he left, and they think he's gonna betray them and all blah blah blah. I think this Loki is going to play and actually find out who this person is. She knows Loki, and these people are idiots because they see a little crown that he wore, and she's skinny because Loki looks at a girl. He's how skinny he is compared to all the other gods. So I think that he's going to basically outsmart this enchantress, or if we actually get good writing, maybe they destroy the whole time variance crap.
I'm going to go ahead and, before I go to Zach, say I do think that the series will end with the destruction of the sacred timeline.
But I want to point out that freaking the Henry Ford pen at high school. So obviously he pointed out. Nobody said see if someone else is working for you, another agent. What if the judge is working with this evil woman?
I don't know. But it's time to go to the 1 out of 5. Zach's, where do you think we're going from here? Number 1.
I think that's actually a good question. Yeah, I think Froggy might be onto something. I think ultimately the show is going to conclude with the destruction of the TVA. I think that Mobius is going to find himself out of a job, probably going to find himself in reality on a jet ski somewhere, because we know he likes jet skis now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how it's going to come about there, because I think that's Loki's ultimate game. I just got what Froggy said.
Oh, wow.
That's neat.
It's we're 2 episodes in, and Owen Wilson has not said his one catchphrase.
Ka-chow.
one
I
thing.
know. He hasn't said ka-chow. Oh, you mean oh wow. Oh. I was thinking ka-chow.
Yeah,
'cause it's
that's
cars.
different.
Cars,
Sorry,
my bad.
Zach. Go ahead. Go finish your thought.
No, that's it. That was my thought. I also do want to see, because obviously we know this is Kang's girlfriend, love interest, whatever, who's the judge that Mobius works for. So I am kind of curious how it does end up tying into, because we know Kang is going to appear in Ant-Man 3. So I am more curious about how this will lead or tie into that versus even Doctor Strange. Very curious about that.
No, he's coming. Love you.
All
Awesome.
right, going to the top hat man himself with the bow tie underneath his beard, Dalton the Authenticator. Where do you think we're going from here?
I think the most likely. Well, I see this going a couple possible different ways. Way number one is the next episode is spent humanizing Mobius a little bit and giving us some of his backstory so that we feel really bad for him as he's about to get reset. And then Loki comes in and does like a little Sherlock Holmes style, I solved the entire thing while we were away kind of monologue, either in this episode or in a couple episodes down the line, because they might split it where it's one episode with Loki's perspective and one episode with Mobius's perspective. And then it's revealed that either there is like a Zardoz, Wizard of Oz kind of situation with the Timekeepers, and they're not actually real beings, and it was Kang and it was Kang all along.
I really hope that's not the case.
Alternatively, the Timekeepers are just too busy and haven't noticed Kang's shenanigans. Or alternatively, they're bound somewhere and he's essentially using their power to sustain the TVA in their absence.
My other theory,
and that will end up setting up for both Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Ant-Man, Quantumania, and possibly also the obvious Spider-Verse that is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay. Let Froggy have his moment. Froggy.
I just want to say my other theory was, what if the Judge and Mobius are the part of the two of the three judges? You know, the time. You know, we're gonna call them the Time Lords.
They're not the Timekeepers, but we know they're not because Mobius works for them in the comics, and also Renslayer.
Yeah, but comics mean nothing. There's nothing to do with the comics.
Yeah, but Renslayer is also Kang's squeeze in the comics. So
yeah, but who says he's not chanting? You know, or
because the TVA is corrupt, and I do think that this is going to end with the TVA being temporarily offline. But I do not think that their corrupt ways are native to the TVA. I think that's Kang and Renslayer essentially weaponizing the bureaucracy and controlling things, you know, behind the scenes.
So
I think what's going to happen is they're going to end up destroying the TVA either by Loki being Loki and being a mischievous element, or by taking down Kang and Renslayer, but Kang escapes into the quantum realm, and then the TVA gets taken offline for a bit. And then the Timekeepers, who I still maintain probably are also the Vishanti,
come in and say, "What the heck did you do?
What the heck are you doing?" Now we have this whole multiverse of madness to deal with, and then boom, we're off to the race.
So I saw your finger right there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Zach.
I posited a theory here. I just thought of this. What if Renslayer is in the TVA as a mole for Kang the Conqueror?
That is basically what I think's going on.
Yeah.
But I think Kang will be behind this. Either it'll be a Wizard of Oz Zardoz situation, and Kang will have been behind the concept of the Timekeepers all along, or he will have either bound them, distracted them, made taken advantage of their indifference, something along those lines, to essentially corrupt the TVA. Because I do think the TVA is probably a good thing. As much as, my free will, as much as my determinism and all that, somebody to maintain a semblance of order with the timeline makes some kind of sense. But I think their role is supposed to be more along the lines of the Men in Black or, the time cops, essentially. They're supposed to fix when things are definitely screwed up. They're not supposed to micromanage the timeline. They're just supposed to fix the endgame style situations where, like, oh wait, they've created a bunch of paradoxes that are going to ruin the timeline if we don't do something, irrespective of free will and all that nonsense.
I know we're running a little over time. I do have to say, out of all the excuses that the TVA used to say that Loki was guilty of disrupting the timeline, Loki was just being Loki, man. He did nothing that Loki wouldn't do. Yeah,
he's Loki. Loki's gonna do what Loki's gonna do. This is an inevitability.
They arrested him because the Avengers went back in time and screwed up the Tesseract.
Yeah, the whole cluster crap that was Endgame.
Yeah, that's really the main problem that I have with it. But I do like the idea that time travel with the TVA is a little different than Endgame, because Endgame's version of time travel was you're using my one curse word, bullshit.
Yeah, it was the most sloppy and ill-defined time travel I've ever seen in any movie ever, and that's saying something.
So I'm going to finish up right here with my thoughts of where we're going. I think the TVA in the next episode is going to be so stretched thin because of all the time, the reset bombs that female Loki Enchantress, she sent him along the timeline. There are so many branches that are occurring at that moment because of what she did that the TVA is going to be too stretched thin to deal with Mobius. And I really think the TVA's destruction is at hand here. Loki is going to follow whoever this female figure we don't know who is yet, Randy for short.
Yeah,
we are going to follow her and figure out where exactly we go.
Asgardian Regina George.
But I think that about does it. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I want to thank the people in the comments too. We had a good discussion about this. My day of puppeting things has tired me out, but we are so glad that we came here for this conversation. So for Froggy and Dalton and the 1 out of 5 Zacks that have shown up, we want to thank you so much. And if you're watching after and you made it to the end of this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be doing more of these. We're going to do them all. We're going to put them in a playlist. You should watch them, and you should watch the show too if you get a chance. I think most of us really enjoy it. So until next time, one last thank you and a bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.